Hey, it's America's Supermom. Thank you for joining me on my podcast. This series is the Corona Chronicles. I created this so that we would have an outlet of positivity in the midst of a lot of negativity. You know what I'm talking about. All the news, the fear around this virus, how it can affect us, what the new normal is looking like, and how so many things have changed that a lot of people feel like um, it is the end of the world, so to speak. So, this podcast was created so that those of us who have hope, who are willing to move forward with this new normal and innovate new things that will help us to be creative and positive. That is what this platform is for us to come together and share that positivity and that light with those who may need it. So if you're interested in sharing your insight, please reach out because we can never have enough positive news. So sit back and enjoy the show.
I am really excited to have you guys join me today. I have a guest by the name of Leslie Warren, and we met organically over Facebook. So we haven't met in person. This is our first time communicating. So I'm really excited to dive into her insights and things that she could offer us during this time. A lot of us are still sheltered in place, and this pandemic has really caused us to prioritize and put some real decisions in perspective, and look at our mindsets and where we're actually headed, after things kind of go back to some state of normalcy. So I'm really excited to have her today. And at this time, I'm going to give her the opportunity to introduce herself and let us know a little bit more about her.
Wow. Hi, everybody. So, yes, my name is Leslie Warren, and I am a fitness professional up here in Northern Florida, in Tallahassee. My job, if you will, is to teach fitness through formats like Zumba, alignment essentials, to do personal training also. I like to work with women who are 40 plus and help them tap back into their physical strength, their inner strength, because there really is a correlation. When you feel physically strong, your mind also follows suit, and from there, a lot of things can change and improve. And I also work with seniors in assisted living and memory care facilities. Oh my goodness. And that's what I do professionally. On the non-professional front, I spend a lot of time volunteering to different organizations on boards. And I'm just a lover of diving deep within on the inside. And, kind of, I have a mentor, Alicia Berry, who talks about the frontier on the inside. And
Mm,
I'm big into the frontier on the inside, especially now during COVID.
so true. Now,
Yeah.
so you mentioned something about working with seniors. So
Yes.
talk to everybody about how, with this pandemic, if you've had to modify some things or, what that landscape looks like now that, we're undergoing this situation and what you kind of foresee it looking like afterwards.
Yes, it has definitely changed and forced me to pivot, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my classes were done primarily in person. Um,
Mm,
and so with this COVID virus, it has forced a lot of my classes to stop. And I'm working
mm,
with facilities and we're trying to pivot. And ironically, um, intuition had kind of tapped me on the shoulder and said before this whole thing blew up, so to speak, um, you might want to look at transitioning a lot of your classes to virtual classes,
mm-hmm.
which I think is very fascinating. That before it all got big, intuition was kind of tapping me on the shoulder and saying, transition, transition. So that is actually what
Mhm.
I'm in the process of doing right now with my facilities, is finding a way to get the format to the residents in a virtual form. The
Mhm.
challenge is the technology on their end, um,
Mm.
because many of the residents, they're not necessarily coming out of their rooms.
Mm.
And so how do we get this on everyone's TV in their room?
Mhm.
Possibility. Um, do we allow them to come out into the community areas for more than just meals, if they're even coming out? It varies from facility to facility. So
Mm.
trying to find a way to pivot my previous delivery method to the resident.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so that business is changing and morphing. The other classes that I had, they're finding more luck with the virtual transition.
Mhm.
People are able to either watch virtually through their laptop, through their phone, through their television set. So that pivot is
Mhm.
easier. But the challenge,
Mhm.
the pivot with the seniors is a bit more challenging, but I'm not giving up because,
Mhm.
that's a population that I have a very deep affinity for. I grew up in a family and a culture where your elders are very much respected,
Mhm.
and you see value in
Right.
age, in being elderly.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that. And so one of the questions that comes to my mind is how that would transition, even if you were able to get in each room, the I don't know what's the word I want to say, how engaged they may be. Because it seems like, when you are with the elderly, a lot of the energy comes from being in person, in terms of motivating them,
Well,
you know.
yeah,
So I was wondering your thoughts on that.
it's it's the magical thing about technology. I don't know
Mhm.
how, and I don't know why, but it can translate through. Um,
Mhm.
I am a when I'm teaching, I'm a very high energy person. Even when I'm teaching seniors, there's still a lot of energy. And
Mhm.
it's the miracle of the universe is it does translate through. They
Awesome.
can feel it. Um,
Mhm.
I think maybe that's one of my superpowers,
Yeah.
my enthusiasm. Actually, I would say yes. My enthusiasm
Mhm.
is one of my superpowers. I will,
So true.
and it does translate through virtually. And I was a little skeptical about it at first when I
Mhm.
looked into working virtually, primarily
Mhm.
through doing either group personal training or one-on-one personal training. And I was pleasantly surprised to discover that, yes, even though I may be here in Florida and my client may be in, I don't know, Alaska or Saskatchewan,
Mhm.
no matter where they are and where I am, when you're doing that one-on-one training, it is actually, I find, the client benefits a little bit more because they are in a situation where
Mm.
they're forced to be more in touch with their body and how it's moving. And neither one of
Mm.
us can use the crutch of me being there physically and then with my hands, moving them into the correct position. They have to find it for themselves.
Mm.
I find it, I
That's a good.
absolutely can see it visually. You know what you're looking for when your client is using the correct form. You can absolutely see it, and you can absolutely
Mhm.
see when they are not. So for
Mm.
the client, they benefit from the virtual training by being more in touch with their body. And I benefit as an instructor because I get to use verbal cues. It forces
Mhm.
me to be more creative and more inventive to give them the cues verbally that they need to put their body physically in the right place. when it translates to those group classes, with the seniors,
Mhm.
I don't know. It is truly, it's the miracle of the universe. But
That's awesome.
my enthusiasm, it does translate through. And depending on
Mhm.
which um, platform that we're using for the virtual class, sometimes I can see them and they can see me. For example, if I'm using Zoom, I have the
Mhm.
ability to see what they're doing in the room and they can see me. And
Right.
really does make it just not the same, but it makes it really, really great. And they can feel
Mhm.
enthusiasm and my love for them.
That's awesome. Now, so the enthusiasm, energy is one of your superpowers. So during this time, there's a lot of people that is like some foreign language, okay? They are gloom and doom, can't think of nothing positive, no energy. So, what is it that you do, or what would you recommend people do to kind of begin that journey of having that energy and being in a place of positivity?
Even for me with my superpower, sometimes the blues hit me too. So my number one recommendation to everybody at this time is you must move your body in some way, shape, or fashion. It doesn't matter what you do, but you've got to move. And there is scientific proof of what I'm talking about. Whenever your body is in motion, whether it's running on a treadmill, taking a class, taking a stroll through the neighborhood, going to the park, whenever your body is in motion, your body is releasing endorphins, serotonin, and other hormones that they refer to as BDNF, brain derived neurotropic factors. And this is basically your brain's happy cocktail. These are
Mm,
all the different hormones that elevate your mood and make you feel good. I mean, literally, that's what it is. It is a happy pill. It is your brain
mm,
natural Prozac, if you will. It
mhm,
doesn't take a lot of activity for this BDNF to be produced by your body. Something as simple as going outside and taking a walk around the block can start producing
mhm,
BDNF. If you literally cannot walk outside, maybe you're in an urban environment and you're truly in home, you can do something as simple as marching in place. You can do something as simple as
mm,
jumping rope. Many people don't have jump ropes. So you can pretend that you've got a jump rope and you can still circle your arms around your body like you're jumping,
mm,
and you can just lift your feet up. You don't have to jump if, for example, you may have knee issues. You can just lift your feet
mhm,
and swing your arms as if you're swinging a jump rope. If lifting your feet is too
mm,
much, you can just lift your heels and kind of bounce on your toes. That's minimally
mhm,
impactful on your knees if you've got joint issues. And doing that for literally 2 or 3 minutes, it starts creating BDNF. So simple things, just any kind of movement. Get the vacuum out and vacuum.
mhm,
Uh,
mhm,
any type of movement, no matter how small, will start creating BDNF. And that's really, really important. Um, the other thing that I
mhm,
would recommend for, elevating your mood is, and it's the same thing I just said, a little tweaked, is get outside, because when you're
mhm,
outside, your body will produce vitamin D.
mhm,
And we need that. Most people are deficient because we don't get outside like we used to back in the day and
mhm,
have time outside. So again, get outside on your porch, on your balcony, on your stoop. If you can't do that, open the window, lift the
mhm,
shade, and allow the
mhm,
sun to come in through the window and just sit there
mhm,
15,
mhm,
20 minutes, read a book, just do something so that the sunlight can get to your skin and allow your skin to
mhm,
do its job of creating vitamin D. Those two things really will help improve your mood. The sunlight, yes, for the benefits of creating vitamin D for your body, but they're also finding that just sunlight helps elevate your mood. And then, of course, the actual physical movement, no matter what it is, turn the radio up and dance. Doing that and dance like nobody's watching, because guess what? No one's watching.
Right. Isn't that right?
So you can do your best dance moves right there in the living room, in your bedroom, wherever. Dance like nobody's watching, because no one is watching.
I
And even
love
if they
that.
were, it doesn't matter, because it's all about you and just having fun.
I love that. I love that. So that is so great. Now, so for people who are, you're in a position where you have to pivot and transition within your industry. So somebody else, they may not be in fitness, but just kind of walking them through your experience, what advice would you give them with having to transition? Because this is something you're experiencing now. What are some tips or pointers that you could give them in order to move forward in a more positive mindset?
One of the first things that I would suggest that you do is, if you are part of a professional community, reach out to, let me rephrase that, professional organization community within an organization within your professional community. Reach out to them. Everyone has had to pivot right now. And so what I've noticed within my industry, at least, is a lot of the organizations are reaching out to their followers, to the people who are in them, and talking about the things that are going on and how we need to pivot as a community. So if you're in a professional organization, reach out to them, because they probably have been posting information or making information available to the membership. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Great.
So good. Yeah.
If you are not part of a professional organization, I would suggest that if you're a woman, for example, there are wonderful networking organizations. I am a member of one. It's called WPN, Women's Prosperity Network. They have been amazing, and they have been producing nonstop different content memberships that will allow them to assess the situation that they're in and pivot no matter what your industry is. So, joining an organization, if you're not a member of one right now, is a wonderful thing to do, because the flip side of that is, not only will they be able to support you professionally, a lot because the membership is close, like WPN, Women's Prosperity Network, they will support you personally too. You make friendships that are that have no borders. So you may make a friend with someone in the UK. You may connect with them on some level when you're watching a webinar, and you can not only find people who you can network with professionally, but you can also find people that you can network with personally, who can be a support system. And that's kind of number 3 that I was going to go on to. Build your personal network, your personal network.
Love that. Those are some great, great tips. Now, as someone who's fit, what advice would you give us on what we should be eating? Because a lot of people, they are, watching movies, eating candy and popcorn, I mean, the whole gamut, eating late at night, going to sleep. So, what would you recommend people begin to gradually start doing? Because I know a lot of people have these high goals of, tomorrow I'm just going to get back on track. You know what I mean? But we need to be
Yeah.
realistic. So, what are some healthy snacks or some certain things about our eating habits that we should be mindful of while we're sheltered
All
in
right.
place?
So I'm going to ask everybody who's ready to jump on the bandwagon and go full throttle on this. I'm going to ask you to, I'm not going to say curb your enthusiasm or bring it down a notch, but I am going to ask you to
Mhm.
pivot it in a slightly different direction because I
Mhm.
want you to take all that enthusiasm, all that energy, and set yourself up for success. I'm going to make a couple of
Mhm.
suggestions that might seem random, but they all work together
Mhm.
to get you where you want to be. First thing that I'm going to ask
Okay.
people to do right now in this situation is, drum roll please,
All
thing
right
is,
now.
I'm going to ask you to step back and evaluate your morning routine. Because if you don't
Mhm.
have one, this is the perfect time to create one and start setting up one and using it in your daily routine. What do I mean when I say a morning routine? Take time to set your day up for success. So, for example, some morning routines may involve waking up in the morning, make your bed. Some people
Mhm.
like to do that first thing because that gives them a win straight out of the gate. Once they make their bed, they may go sit to the side and meditate or be prayerful. They might grab a journal and write down what they dreamed about or what they'd like to achieve during the day. But take a little bit of time and be mindful. The next thing they might do is they might go and do that little jump rope exercise that I told you about, physical
Mhm.
for 5 minutes just to get those BDNFs, brain derived neurotropic factors, flowing and pumping in their body.
Mhm.
Getting them, again, small
Mhm.
step to get them set up for success.
Mhm.
Then they may go ahead and decide, all right, let me make my breakfast, take my shower, and all those other things. But take time in the morning to
Mhm.
give yourself some time first, just 5 to 10 minutes. Some people have
Mhm.
longer routines. Mine takes about an hour and a half, but I'm doing several things. But take some time to create a morning routine. I'd like to suggest
Mhm.
several resources for them. Robin Sharma is a wonderful transformational leadership teacher, and he has a great book about
Mhm.
morning routines called the 5 a.m. Club. There's also a gentleman named
Mhm.
Hal Elrod. He has a wonderful take
Mhm.
on morning routines. There's also Mel Robbins. She has this great rule called the 5 second rule, and she's got great input about
Mhm.
morning routines. And then one of my favorite resources, Mind Valley. CEO is named, oh, why am I going blank? Because I have the biggest crush on him. Vishen Lakiani. He's a really brilliant
Mhm.
transformational leader. And they've got some great content about morning routines that they do in concert with a gentleman named Jim Quick. So you can Google all these people, you
Okay.
can Google morning routines, but make a morning routine. If you've made a morning
Mhm.
routine, the next thing that I would suggest is for you to be mindful of what you're eating and drinking. Because a lot of we do
Mhm.
something, I call it free range grazing, where you nosh and eat all
Mhm.
day. And it's not really that you're hungry, it's that you're thirsty. There are 6 different kinds of
Mm.
hunger, as chronicled by the nutrition anthropologist Eric Edmeades, and one of them is thirst. A lot of times,
Mm.
people are eating when they're actually thirsty. And biologically
Mhm.
speaking, before we had cups and things like that to drink from, we ate to take care of our body's need for water. Sometimes, folks, you're actually
Mm.
thirsty instead of really being hungry. So first thing out of the gate, when you're doing your morning routine, have 8 ounces of water. Dehydrate during the evening when we sleep. This allows us to hydrate again, get our brain hydrated, get our body hydrated, and really shoot for drinking a lot of water. You know, the old adage was 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. You guys remember that? The
Mhm.
same is still
Yeah.
true. It's been modified a little bit, and what most people recommend is to drink half of your body weight in ounces. So if you are, say, if you weigh 160 pounds, half of that would be 80
Mhm.
ounces of water, which sounds like a lot, but it really isn't.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you, don't shoot for 80 ounces. first thing out of the gate, aim for drinking 2 glasses because most people don't drink water. So just aim for maybe a glass in the morning and a glass in the afternoon. Everybody can do that. And then just gradually try and increase that by small increments, just like a glass every couple of days. Again, keep it simple. Set yourself up for success. Make it so easy that you can't not do it. When it comes to your food, again, don't skip meals. It's really easy right now to skip meals. Try and make sure that you eat your breakfast, lunch, and dinner if you're finding yourself in a slump and you can't get out of bed and you're finally rolling out at maybe 12 or 11 or something like that. Try and eat meals. One of the best suggestions that I had was try and eat small meals, which can be a transition for most folks. So if you're used to eating really big meals, stick with your really big meals, but throw in some small snacks in between them. And then try and transition gradually to eating slightly smaller meals, slightly bigger snacks, until you find yourself eating kind of a smallish meal, but many of them throughout the day. And then the last thing I'm going to throw in there, make yourself a smoothie. Get some fresh vegetables, get some fresh fruits, and if you want to give it an extra nutritional boost, throw in a protein powder of your choice. And a protein smoothie is a great way to start the day, especially if you're throwing in some veggies and some fruits, because you could literally, in that one smoothie, get half to 3/4 of all the fruits and vegetables that you need in the course of the day right there in the morning.
Okay.
I hope I've answered your question.
That's great. Yeah, that was perfect because, that's why I said a lot of people, it makes a lot of sense to kind of know where you're going, where that roadmap is a lot clearer. Because for some people who have not been disciplined or whatever the case may be about their eating and, even their exercise or just the mindset about being fit, we tackle things that are unrealistic because that's not something we've been focusing on. So it's so likely that you make these goals that are really unobtainable. And after a day or so, you're burnt out because you try to do something that just didn't make any sense.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And that's kind of where that whole, it sounds like it's left field, but start with your morning routine. And if fitness is one of those things that you're really wanting to achieve, then just spend a little bit of time thinking about, what am I going to do today? Maybe I'm going to focus on just do that 5 or 10 minutes in the morning to get my body moving and get that BDNF pumping through my veins. I've had a glass of water. All right, so we're already right there. You've already got 2 wins as it pertains to your fitness. Then maybe you'll go ahead and make that smoothie. Now you've got 3. And acknowledge those tiny wins. That's really important. You don't have to acknowledge, I ran a marathon today. No, you don't build on huge things out of nowhere. You have to lay those foundations. And the foundations consist of tiny wins, little things that you do, those little atomic habits, those small habits that you do on a daily basis that set yourself for success, that give you wins, that create momentum so that you can keep doing those behaviors and those activities that are going to support you in that end goal. Does that make sense?
That makes so much sense. And then lastly, I guess what I would ask is, what are some healthy snacks? Because a lot of people think, oh, well, I just had a bag of chips or, popcorn, and they want to modify some of those snacks and make them healthy. But if you haven't been eating healthy snacks, you may think, oh, I'm going to get some chips instead of a piece of cake. But what would be some healthy snacks that we should probably
So I'm going to give you
focus
2 answers to this, all right? Direct the first answer directly. What are some healthy snacks? Some healthy snacks include things like nuts, almonds, cashews, Even peanuts can be a healthy snack because peanuts can be
Mhm.
better than eating a cake. All right. Fruits and vegetables.
Mhm.
So get some apples, oranges, any of the grapes. It's summer's coming. So there's going to be a lot of really delicious fresh produce out there. Popcorn is actually a really good snack if it's not coated with all those flavorings and a lot of butter or a lot of oil.
Mhm.
So you can go to the
Mhm.
grocery store and just get plain popcorn. Um, if you're going to have chips, you can go for baked chips. And here's the second part of the answer. If you got to have chips, baby steps.
Mhm.
Instead of the full oil chips, switch over to baked chips. All right. It's still a chip
Mhm.
to satisfy that crunching and that flavor, but it's a little healthier. All right. If you really like crunchy stuff,
Mhm.
pretzels.
Mhm.
Pretzels are a great chip.
Mhm.
Um, if you want to go for veggie chips, I love those. And again,
Mhm.
it's not full
Mhm.
fat baked into oil or cooked in oil potato chip. It's a step in the right direction. If you're eating snacks that are
Mhm.
less than healthy, I'm going to suggest that if you just can't give them up right now, it's just too big a leap. Instead of eating the whole bag,
Mhm.
take
Mhm.
that bag, get some little Ziploc bags, and make portions of them.
Mhm.
It's a lot easier to sit and
Mhm.
keep pulling chips out of that one bag, and before you know it, the bag is gone. But if you
Mhm.
made them, take that one bag of Lay's, and now they're 10 small bags, you actually have to get up and get the second or the
Mhm.
third or the fourth. And subconsciously, you're a little more
Right.
mindful if you're getting up to get them, or if you're clever enough to think, okay, well, let me go ahead and grab 5 of these little baggies. There's subconsciously, you still know that you're eating 5. That number pops on a subconscious level.
Right.
So if you're wanting to
Mhm.
make that change, in your mind, you know that you've had 5 small bags, 5 bags. That number 5 is popping up. And it makes it a little easier for you
Mhm.
to step back and maybe do
Mhm.
3 next time or 2 next time. All right. So I've
Mhm.
given you some suggestions
Mhm.
for healthy snacks, given you some suggestions for transitional snacks.
Mhm.
If you just can't put the snack down, that's cool. I
Mhm.
get it. And I'm not one to ask you to make a huge leap, jump across the Grand Canyon, but everybody can take that bag of chips
Mhm.
and make it into small portions. Everyone can take that cake and go ahead and cut it
Mhm.
into, 8 or 10 pieces, whatever size the cake is, and just eat a small portion.
Mm.
Because in the end, it's all about portion control
Mhm.
anyway. So,
Mhm.
how's that
Mhm.
helpful, you think?
So good. That is some
And I'm
Yes, that is some great insight because I mean I love your approach
yeah,
with being, realistic. Like I said, everybody has this mindset, hey, I'm doing it tomorrow and it's that repetition of feeling like you're not
yeah,
measuring up to that goal that puts you in the frame of mind of thinking, well,
exactly.
it doesn't matter. I give up on it
Yes, yes. And
completely.
that
You
just
see
sets
what I'm
you up
saying?
for failure. And I want to set you
Mhm.
up for success. So,
Mhm.
if you love potato chips and I can't give
Mhm.
up chips during COVID, okay, cool. I'm not going to ask you to. All I am going to ask you to do is put
Mhm.
them in portions and just put it in the back of your
Mhm.
mind for when you
That's
are
true.
ready to make that step that you can cut
Mhm.
back and
Mhm.
just eat those small bags and maybe just 2 or 3
Mhm.
instead of 7 or 8. I'm going to also interject here, drink your water,
Mhm.
friends. Drink your water. And it's better if you can drink it
Mhm.
without those little additives. The I forget what it's called
Mhm.
now. Um,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, like the little
hmm
crystal lights type
better
stuff,
if you can
or
drink it
yeah.
without. But if
Mhm.
you need it in the beginning, I'd rather you drink it with Crystal Light and all those flavors because you're still getting water.
Mhm.
And then gradually wean yourself off of that
Mhm.
um, flavor that you're adding. Keep it simple. I don't like
Mhm.
keep it simple stupid
Mhm.
because you're not stupid. I'd rather keep it simple simple.
Right.
Keep it simple. It's so nice we
Right.
say it
I
twice.
like that.
Keep it simple simple. you know?
I
Simple,
love
simple,
that. Keep it simple,
you
simple.
know?
That's good. All right. Well, this has just been wonderful. I really enjoyed all the insight. I love your approach with just the realistic, approach. That sets people up for success, knowing the truth and the realness to the advice
Thank you.
that you're giving. So that's outstanding. Now, what's the best way for
So if you
somebody to
want
get a
to
hold of you?
contact me directly, email is great. Fitness with Leslie,
Mm-hmm.
FitnessWithLeslie, Fitness with Leslie at gmail.com. And I'm actually changing up
Mm-hmm.
my website. So the website is going to be
Okay.
thephoenixfitness.com. And that's
Mm-hmm.
ThePhoenixFitness, thephoenixfitness.com. And I hope to have that up soon. I would like to invite you all to check it out because when it is live, I'm going to have some
Mm-hmm.
great freebies for everyone to help support them on their
Awesome.
fitness journey, uh, in the form of
Mm-hmm.
nutrition support, fitness support, and just general lifestyle support. And again, these are just freebies. I want people to be set
Mm-hmm.
up for success. So there's stuff out there, resources out there that I will be offering to folks. And then, of course, if you want to take it a level deeper, you'll be able to see what we've got on the website. And again, always email me. I'm here to support people. We get through it together.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, I really have appreciated this insight. I've got a couple of pages of notes, which
Great.
is a good thing. And I'm really
Thank
glad
you.
that we were able to connect. So I want to thank you
Thank
again
you so
for
much,
all
Lachelle.
this
I really have
insight.
enjoyed being a guest here. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
You are
Indeed, we
welcome.
will.
And we'll talk soon, okay?
Thanks again. Bye bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode. I really enjoy providing content that inspires and challenges us to be a better version of ourselves. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, please email me at info@lachelleatkins.com. You can also reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, or my YouTube channel. If there was something in this episode that resonated with you, it probably will resonate with someone else. So please share it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. But those aha moments, those moments of really getting something and changing your perspective are very, very pivotal in having people change the trajectory of their lives. And so being able to share insightful information so that other people can grow is the easiest thing that we can do as we pay it forward. So, again, I want to thank you all for listening. And if you have time, write out a review. Go to iTunes, Anchor, wherever you can find this podcast on any of those platforms and write a review about what impact this episode had on you, what you learned, or whatever. Any feedback is great because it just helps me to understand what content is really beneficial for those that are listening. So, again, I want to thank you all for your support and taking the time to spend some time with me and my guests. And I wish you a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.